The woman suddenly spotted a man outside her window, and even more terrifyingly, that guy was masked. He looked like a professional robber. He walked to the door and looked inside. The woman was too scared to move. The next moment, the guy covered his hand and looked inside. Then he seemed to think he should do something. He took out a hammer and opened the door. He then cautiously stepped inside, but the woman had already run away. However, the man seemed to have noticed something. The woman had left a ball of yarn on the ground. What was even stranger was that the woman didn't want to give up her yarn. She was frantically pulling on the thread. The man followed the thread with his eyes. The woman seemed to have escaped upstairs. At that moment, the man's accomplice arrived. The man pointed to the stairs. His accomplice was also surprised. The next moment, the man handed him the hammer. His accomplice took the hammer and went upstairs. Then they followed the yarn forward. This time they ended up in the bedroom. The man opened the door and found the sweater on the ground. They cautiously stepped inside. Then they slowly knelt down and lifted the bedsheet. Another robber suddenly opened the cabinet, but they found that the woman wasn't inside. The accomplice was extremely frustrated. Where had the woman gone? But then he seemed to notice something. He signaled to the man. Then the accomplice slowly approached the curtain. The next moment, the woman's fighting ability was really strong. She knocked one man down in an instant. The other man was not afraid at all. The woman could only drop her things and run. She kept looking back as she ran. Unexpectedly, she tripped and fell. She was knocked down pretty hard and seemed to have fainted from the fall. The two robbers came down to check on her, but were suddenly attacked. It turned out that the woman had done it on purpose, but at that moment she was cornered by the two men and had nowhere to retreat. When her husband came home from work, he suddenly noticed something unusual at the door. There was a pool of blood on the ground. He immediately called the police. A seasoned female police officer arrived on the scene, but looking at the hood on the ground, she was deeply puzzled. The husband immediately told his mother what had happened. The woman said that the money had not been stolen, so they should just wait for the robbers to call. But by evening they had not received a call. Meanwhile, in another car, the robber was covering his face and wailing. The woman was urging the robber to seek medical treatment, otherwise he would easily get an infection. At that moment, a police car drove up in front of them and asked them to stop the car for inspection. The woman keenly sensed that this was an opportunity and immediately ran towards the police car. However, she did not get into the police car, but ran to the gas station to look for scissors. When the police saw her, they immediately went to help her. Just as the belt was cut, the light suddenly went out. It was obvious that the kidnappers had cut off the power supply. The woman quickly opened a bucket of lubricant and poured it at the door. She then picked up a bunch of glow sticks. The sound of shattered glass echoed. The woman realized it was a bathroom and consciously pushed the door open to check. Suddenly she heard heavy breathing. The woman knew it was the robber and closed the door to return. She brought back 2 bags of ice